Hello, my shooting stars. Let's party. Auntie Claire, spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire, spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire, spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire, spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire, spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire, spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. If you got a question, just give me a call and leave a voicemail. Or send me a text, cause it's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. It's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Hello, my shooting stars. Let's party. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. If you got a question, just give me a call and leave a voicemail. Or send me a text, cause it's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. It's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Hello, my shooting stars. Let's party. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. If you got a question, just give me a call and leave a voicemail. Or send me a text, cause it's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. It's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Hello, my shooting stars. Let's party. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. If you got a question, just give me a call and leave a voicemail. Or send me a text, cause it's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. It's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Hello, my shooting stars. Let's party. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. If you got a question, just give me a call and leave a voicemail. Or send me a text, cause it's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. It's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Hello, my shooting stars. Let's party. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. If you got a question, just give me a call and leave a voicemail. Or send me a text, cause it's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. It's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Hello, my shooting stars. Let's party. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. If you got a question, just give me a call and leave a voicemail. Or send me a text, cause it's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual. Hello? Hello? Hello, is this thing on? Hello? Hello, my shooting stars. Can you hear me? I know you can't see me yet, but can you hear me? Hello, my shooting stars. Happy new moon. How we doing? How we feeling? Auntie just woke up from a nap, so we're taking the edge off with one. Hello, my shooting stars. We are live on YouTube and Twitch for the first time. Hello. And now we're on Twitch. Or now we're on TikTok. Oh, my shooting stars. There's a whole lot of shit going on out there. Right? Hello, my shooting stars. You can hear me. Perfect. Feeling good. As good as we fucking can, right? You know, as good as we can. I'm feeling fantastic. The new moon always has me feeling good. I'm very excited to get some messages for yous, for my shooting stars. Hello, my loves over on TikTok. Come on over to YouTube or Twitch to get the full experience. We're going to get into some of these calls. You still have time to leave me a call, leave me a voicemail, send me a text. We're going to get into some of these questions you have. And honestly, and I wasn't surprised, a lot of the questions are very similar because we're all kind of going through similar things. You know? Yeah, jump on over to YouTube. Come on over. Let me know how YouTube's doing. It's new over there. But before we jump in, as always, we're going to talk about the astrology of right now. We're going to talk about what's going on in the stars. We're going to talk about all of the different astrological components that are adding to what's going on right now. And there's quite a few. Hello, my shooting stars. Come on in. Yeah, come on. Looks good. We love it. Hello, my shooting stars. Hello. What's going on in the stars right now is adding to what's going on here on Earth, obviously, as it always is. However, and you're going to hear a lot of people talking about Jupiter. You're going to hear a lot of people talking about Jupiter right now because Jupiter is hanging out with the sun and Jupiter's hanging out with the moon. And all three of them, the sun, the moon, and Jupiter, are hanging out together in Cancer. And so for my emotional babies, my emotional water signs, now might be a really great time for you. But for those of you who don't really like to show your emotions, who don't like to express emotionally your gratitude, you don't like to express and be big and emotional about the things you're grateful for or the things you want to be grateful for, you might have a little bit of a hard time right now. Not to mention with all the shit that Pluto got going on, it's proving to be a little bit of a bumpy ride. Hello, my shooting stars. We're just talking about the astrology of right now. Not to mention, Venus and Mars are kind of acting up. And not necessarily in a bad way, but in a way where it might make you have some, especially with what Jupiter's got going on, some grandiose feelings about loved ones, about your romantic or sexual partners. Might bring some things to the forefront for you about how you need to be taken care of, about how you want to be loved, about what you need, and more importantly, about what you don't need. More importantly, about what you don't need and what needs to go. And maybe what you've been settling for. Because Jupiter isn't about settling. Jupiter doesn't do the settling. Jupiter wants it big, and Jupiter wants it exactly how he wants it. And so, if you're not doing that for yourself, if you're playing small, you might not get anything. You get it? Jupiter's big. Jupiter wants you to be big. Hello, my shooting stars. Hello. Hello. What else is going on right now in the stars? I think that's all I want to talk about. We do have a Mercury retrograde coming up in a couple of weeks. And I know how y'all like to get. I know how you like to get whenever Mercury goes retrograde. So I'm going to give you a warning now. Don't act up. Especially with all this other energy going on. Mind your P's and Q's. Don't go sending any messages to anybody that you don't need to be talking to. And pay attention to that thing that we were talking about of what do you deserve? And where have you been playing small? And don't go entertaining anything that comes back into your experience that isn't what you deserve and is playing small. You understand? You get it? You understand? Do we get it? Do we get it? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat if we get it, if we understand, if we're with it. Yes, we get it. Okay. We get it. We're getting it. Ah! Oh my God. My name is Auntie Claire. Thank you very much. Peaches doing some other stuff right now. She's got me on her socials to take over for a little bit. Put a little tequila in my sparkling water because that's just the kind of life we're having right now. Now, all of this stuff that we're talking about with Jupiter, right? Big. We're talking about big stuff. Huge. You get it. But not only that, right? The bigness, the newness that's coming in, the potency, right? There's a lot of energy for potential. And potential's neutral. Okay? So while you may be focused on all of the things that you want to bring into your experience, all of the people in power, right? We're going to say that. All the people in power know all of this astrological stuff as well. They also know where the stars are. They also know what Jupiter's doing. And they're also doing their own type of work. You understand? You get what I'm saying? You're picking up what I'm putting down. So that means we have to be extra intentional about what it is that we're bringing in, and we have to think about everybody. We have to think about the whole collective. We have to think about all of us. Now more than ever. Because Jupiter doesn't just help the people who are good. The planets don't care. It's who's utilizing the energy. So we have to make sure there's more of us utilizing the energy than there is of them. Picking up what I'm putting down. You sent me a text. Perfect. Thank you, my love. Thank you, my love. Thank you, my love. You can text, and I'm just gonna put a pause on this really quick because we have somebody in the chat on TikTok that said something that I really need to address. And I know we're having a silly, goofy time here and we're having fun, but this is very serious, and I want to talk about it. You're not done living. You're nowhere near done living. You're nowhere near done living, and I don't know who needs to hear this other than my babe here in the chat. You're nowhere near done living. You are nowhere near done living. You got so much more to experience, so much more to move through, so much more to appreciate, to be grateful for. I'm glad that you put something in the chat. I'm glad that we're all having this experience right now. Because you all deserve to be here. You all need to be here. You wouldn't be here for this amount of time already if you weren't supposed to be here. You get it. You get it. I love you. I love you. You're here for a reason. Sometimes we just need to be silly goofy sometimes. You know. We all need it. There's a lot of shit going on. It's really fucking crazy out there. Sometimes we just need to be silly goofy. Sometimes we just need to be silly goofy. There is so many forces using all of these energies, all of the potent energy that I'm talking about, to keep you scared, to keep you quiet, to keep you small. Hopeless, worried, conditioned. Put it all down. Put it all down. Because it was given to you. It was given to you. You get to choose it. And you get to put it down. And at least for the next hour or so, you can put it down. I love you. I love you. Oh, it's a whole lot of shit going on out there, babes. My shooting stars. We need to take care of each other. We need to listen to each other. And we need to speak up whenever we're feeling that way. And you should never feel bad for feeling that way and for saying something. And I'm so glad that you said something. Because you're not alone in that. You're not alone in that feeling. Okay? And you don't have to feel alone in that feeling. I love you. And on that note, let's move into my favorite segment of my show before we get into the calls, called What's Fogging My Third Eye. And honestly, we've been talking about it. We can't not talk about it. And I might lose some of you in this when I'm talking about this. I might lose some of you. What's really been fogging my third eye these days are all of the people that are talking about just operating in love and light right now. If that's how you operate, if you're only about the love and light, if all you work with is the light, cool, good for you. Good for you. Good for you, sweetheart. Good for you. There's a lot of weird shit going on out there. And honestly, we need some of our practitioners who are working with the dark because we need to manipulate what they got going on. Okay? I am really sick and tired. It's really, really fogging my third eye. All of these practitioners that don't want to get involved, that don't want to talk about what's going on, that don't want to talk about the atrocious, sorry, okay, bring it back. The atrocious energy, the atrocious actions that are, sorry. Okay, bring it back, bring it back, bring it back, bring it back, bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back, bring it back, bring it back. All of these love and light girlies that don't want to talk about the atrocious actions that are being taken, okay? That don't want to talk about the very real power that they could be harnessing if they weren't so worried about keeping themselves so squeaky clean. And furthermore, let's talk about how you're not even really doing any real work, if that's where you're at, okay? However, if you don't know what you're doing, stay out of it. Stay out of it, but stop trying to shame people and tell them not to do the workings that they know they need to be doing right now, okay? Truth and anger are fire, exactly. And that being said, to any of my practitioners who are working with darkness for the greater good, I am sending you protection. I've been sending you protection. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. All right, we're going to take a little break. I'm going to get into some of these calls and texts when we get back. Send me a voicemail. Shoot me a text. In the meantime, if you're over here on TikTok, come join us over on Twitch. Come join us over on YouTube, either one, so you get the full experience. But I'll be right back. I love yous. Hello, my shooting stars. Let's party. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. If you got a question, just give me a call and leave a voicemail. Or send me a text, cause it's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. It's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Hello, my shooting stars. Let's party. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. If you got a question, just give me a call and leave a voicemail. Or send me a text, cause it's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. It's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Hello, my shooting stars. Let's party. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. If you got a question, just give me a call and leave a voicemail. Or send me a text, cause it's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. It's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Hello, my shooting stars. We're back. We're back. How we doing? How we feeling? I know we've got some of yous over here from TikTok. Hello. Hello. How are we? You get the full experience over here. Lots of texts coming in. You're asking about these men, as you always are. And you know what? That's what I should have said that was fogging my third eye, if I'm being honest. Anytime things go a little crazy in the world, all of your ladies, all of the girlies start worrying about when a man's gonna come into their experience, as if a man's gonna save them from all this crazy shit that's going on in the world. Hate to break it to you, babe. That's not gonna happen. I hate to break it to you. Sorry. He's not gonna be the one to save you. I think there's 3 or 4 texts that came in asking if that man is right for you. Probably not. Probably not, my love. I'm so sorry. I mean, I'll pull some cards on it, but I'm going to tell you probably no. Probably not. Anyway, let me not get worked up. Let's get into our first call. Let's get into our first call.
Hey, Auntie Claire. Oh my God. Hello. Auntie Claire, I have a question, or more so overshare. I'm still wondering where the money is at. I'm still waiting. I have been working hard, I have been reaching out to people, making collaborations, having fun. And still the money is not here, and I'm just wondering what's up. Also, my body is so different now. My body is less able to do things, and I'm just grieving about it. I'm grieving about that reality and just taking care of myself best I can. But yeah, I'm just sitting with those 2 things about the money and my body not being the same. And I was wondering if you had any advice for me. Thank you so much, Auntie Claire. I love you so much. Mwah. Kisses.
Oh, my shooting star. I love you too. Those are 2 really good questions and 2 completely different focuses, but I love both of them. I want to talk about the body thing first, just because that's a little bit more specific. And then I want to talk about the money stuff because I think a lot of people can relate to both of them, if we're being honest. But I think as well, again, from an astrological perspective, I think we're going to start seeing a lot of physical transformations from the energy that's happening, right? And I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way. I think it's just understanding the process of change, right? On top of just our body's natural changes and natural growths and as we age and mature and all of the change and just the physical representation of experience, right? The physical representation of having moved through your life. That's a beautiful fucking thing. You've lived your life. Of course you can't do the same things that you could do when you're 19. If we could. good, honey, you know. But I think the beautiful thing about grief, right, and you even said it, the beautiful thing about it is that it is grief, and that when we understand that the process of grief happens with everything, and we can practice the process of moving through grief even with our own experience, the changing of our own body, it allows when things end for us to move through that grief in a smoother way. Does that make sense? I think when we allow ourselves to process grief on the micro scale, then when it comes on the macro scale, it's a little bit easier to move through. You know what I mean? But I think, especially for women, right? Especially for femmes, let me say that. Let me be inclusive. Especially for femmes, whenever we are feeling the results of that change, right? Feeling, I want to say the word aging, right? We're feeling maybe our body moving through maturity. When we live in a society that wants women to feel only valuable when they're young and hot and tight, I think there's a very revolutionary act in honoring and loving your body as it grows and ages and through your experience. It's not always easy, but I think there's something very beautiful in that. I think there's a certain je ne sais quoi about that, you know? Women who own their age, hot, sexy. You know what I'm saying? And I know that's not really what you're talking about. You're talking more about ability. However, there's an inevitable through line with that. And I think a lot of women fear aging and fear getting old. When it's like, it's the greatest thing to ever happen. It means you're alive. It means you're alive. The number, 929-556-0197. Give me a call. Send me a text. Leave me a voicemail. That tequila's kicking in, my shooting stars. But the other thing you were talking about in regards to the money, let's pull a couple of cards. That's what we're here for, isn't it? That's what we're here for. Let's pull a couple of cards. Your body is a temple and should be treated with love and acceptance. Oh, I couldn't have said it better myself. Yes, own my age, your body has changed. Absolutely, I think regardless of the reason why the body changes, right? Let me come back. Regardless of the reason why the body changes, whether it's from maturing, whether it's from just living your life, whether it's from childbirth, whether it's from a traumatic experience, an operation, health, whatever it is, whatever. I think there's sometimes an inherent level of shame, especially for women. And someone I saw in the chat said, is this a show just for women? No. Women are just superior in every single way, so I always want to talk to them first. You understand? However, this is a show for everybody. But I think especially with women, hello, my shooting star. Except for perimenopause, that shit can go to, you're telling me. Anyway. I think especially for women, there is something so liberating about the first thing when you think about your body not being shame. Not having the first response to the thought of your body being shame. That is so liberating and revolutionary when that is exactly what is ingrained in us as women, is to feel shame around whatever is happening with our body, regardless of what's happening, regardless of how normal it is. So that being said, let's talk about this money shit. No woman, no life. Thank you very much. I'm glad you stuck around, fella. I'm glad the fellas are stuck in a... Sticking around. Okay. All right. Let's get a message. King of Pentacles. Ooh. All right, we got to cover them up because we don't want to get flagged. We're not on TikTok anymore, but cover them up. Cover them up. I know this card scares a lot of people. That's okay. Let it scare you. It's a kind of scary card. But the only reason why it's scary is because it represents the part of you that doesn't know how to say no. It represents the part of you that doesn't know how to stop yourself from going back to the same cycle that you've always been in. It's the part of you that gets tempted. This is the card of temptation, right? And a lot of the time people think that it's temptation to the things that, the pleasures of life, right? The pleasures of the flesh or pleasures of whatever. Sometimes it is. But sometimes it's the temptation of the thought, the temptation of the mind, of where we allow our mind to go to, not having discipline with where our thoughts are. Especially if we're talking about money, especially if we're talking about lack, especially if we're talking about what we think we deserve and what we think we're worth. More importantly, how we think money is supposed to come to us. Thank you. You said in your voice note, I've been working hard. And yeah, one way to get money is to work hard. That's one way. Doesn't bring you that much money, though. But when you're inspired about the work that you're doing, when you're excited about the work that you're doing, when we feel confident in the path that we're walking, that it feels fun to return to it and do it over and over and over and over and over again. If we're doing it over and over and over again and we're annoyed that doing it over and over and over again isn't bringing us any results, then we don't really enjoy doing it over and over and over again. You get what I'm saying? You understand what I'm talking about? Sometimes, and that's where the temptation comes in, sometimes we think we have to fall back to things that we know because it's a tried and true method, when really we're being asked to push forward and do something different and trust something different. Thank you. A lot of the time we think that it has to be ugly for it to look good at the end. That we have to suffer through something. That it can't be nice the whole way through. That it can't be enjoyable the whole way through. It's either one or the other. Either you're going to have a good time during and it's going to be a shitty result, or you're going to have a shitty time during and it's going to be a great outcome. I think people sometimes have that weird disconnection of like, that's the only way it happens. Of like, you have to sometimes suffer through something in order to get something good at the end. That's not true. That's not true. That's not how it goes. That's not how it works. More importantly, I'm hearing zoom out. The money's not the thing. Zoom out. You might not be getting the thing that you want because you think you need the money, when really you're supposed to be asking for the experience that you want, not the money to get the experience. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes we have this internal processing, this internal script of, I have to figure it out, so I need resources to figure it out, rather than asking for it to be figured out. Try it. Try it. Humans sometimes think that we have to do it all ourselves, so then we look for the human resource, which is the money. We ask the divine for the human part of it, when we should be asking the divine for the divine part of it. You understand? I really love that question. I really love that question. How do we feel? What do we think about that? How do we feel about that? Talk to me in the chat. Talk to me. We have been conditioned by society to feel that way. Absolutely. Of course. Of course. How do we feel? How is that sitting with us? Are we processing? Hello, Adrian. We love to hear it. We love to hear it. I'm going to read a text message this time. We got a lot of texts coming in this time. You know what, Maggie? I'm so sorry. You weren't the only person asking about a man, and I apologize you caught a stray. I apologize you caught a stray. That's so funny. Maggie texted me earlier and said, "What do I need to know about Emmanuel?" And then she texted me again and needed to clarify and said, "Auntie, when I asked what should I know about Emmanuel, I'm really talking about, is he going to pay me back?" She said, "Is he going to run me my money? I don't really care if he loves me." Oh, that's good shit. Okay. And you know what? I love that question. Let's find out. We're talking all about the money today. And you know what? I wasn't anticipating it, but Jupiter's in Cancer, so let's talk about the money. Let's talk about the money. And do your spirit guides have any messages for you? Let's see. Let's get a 2-in-1. Let's get a 2-in-1, especially because you're in the chat. I love it. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. And Emmanuel, if you're listening, run her money, okay? Give her the money. Give her the funds. How much? How much does he owe you? Tell me. How much does he owe you? How much does he owe you? Because we'll do a little joint spell, because someone owes me 3,000 pounds as well, actually. Yeah, pounds. Foreign currency. We'll say a little spell together when we pull these cards. How much does he owe you? $600. Run her money. Split the deck, and I saw that 10 of Pentacles there. Okay, Ace of Pentacles. We love it. Not having to work hard is a plus, and the only way I've been doing, like, mantras and chanting and trust. Whatever I need, I will have. Exactly. Money is a perfect top. Exactly. Well, and I think sometimes, right, we get lost in the weeds with the money, right? We get lost in the weeds with the money because the money is just the vehicle to get the thing, to have the experience, right? And so when we zoom out and we get super clear on what the experience is that we want to be having, not just, I don't want to be having this experience. That's not the same as this is the experience that I want to be having. I don't want to be in this experience is not the same as this is the experience I want. The universe responds differently to both of those things. The I don't like this experience must inform This is the experience I want to have. But those two thoughts are two separate thoughts. And a lot of you are focused on the shit that you don't want and thinking that money is the thing that's going to get you out of this shit that you don't want. That's not it. It's because you don't know what you actually want. You hear me? Okay. Let's see what we need to hear. Thank you so much. There's that King of Swords again. And as always, as we do these multiple readings, I want you to pay attention to the cards that come out more than once. As we always do, we like to pay attention to patterns in this house. This is the pattern recognition household. And for those of you, which I know there's a couple in the chat, who like to do tarot readings, or you're trying to do tarot readings, or you're trying to start a tarot business, or whatever it is that you're trying to do, patterns are very important. So pay attention. Like we have this King of Swords here. He came out before, if you've been paying attention. I hate to break it to you, sweetheart, but I do not think he's going to give you that $600. But I think it's not even about the $600 anymore for you. It's more about the principle. It's more about the, is there going to be some sort of repayment, even if it is monetary repayment for whatever transpired, right? And I think by you energetically still being attached to that money, it's going to keep you attached to him. You don't want that. You don't want that. You don't want that. Because then you're going to hear all these stories about why he doesn't have the money and where all his money's been going and how shitty his life is and why he can't pay you back and wah, 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 sob story. You're going to hear it all. And that's just going to bring this weird energy into your experience, and you don't need that. And the other question of what messages do your guides have for you? You've been doing a lot of work to separate your emotions from your thoughts and understanding that those are two different things. Keep doing that work. It's very important. And you're doing very well. Your mind is very powerful, and it sometimes hurts you because sometimes you don't keep it in check. You're getting better at keeping it in check, but keep working at it. Thank you. Well, yeah. I also wouldn't doubt that he was gonna. He will tell you that he's gonna pay you back just to keep you in his experience, just to keep you around. Just to keep stringing you along with whatever sob story he's got. Because here's this card again. And this card's making me worried. This King of Swords and this card coming out together is making me worried because it's giving me this energy of we think that we can dibble and dabble in some of our old behaviors, in some of our old habits, thinking that we've mastered ourselves, thinking we're a little bit too big for our britches, thinking that we can't get lost in the sauce. You can still get lost in the sauce. This isn't just for this reading. This is for everybody who's listening. You can still get lost in the sauce. Doesn't matter how healed you think you are. Anyone can get caught up if you're not intentional about what it is that you're doing. Mind your P's and Q's. However, if you stop worrying about this $600, there might be something even bigger on the way. There might be something even bigger on the way. This $600 might be a test. Might be a lesson. It might be a lesson in letting go. He ain't telling the truth. He was never telling the truth. And you might not be telling the truth to yourself either if you think that he's going to pay you back. Small claims court. Exactly. Take him to court. I mean, there wasn't a justice card or anything in here, so I'm not seeing anything like that. But I am seeing that the universe will bless you if you kind of leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? If you leave it alone and you don't follow the potential trail of breadcrumbs. You understand? You understand? Okay, let's see. Let's see what else we got. Oh. I love that. This is very similar to what we were just talking about. Honestly, how do I manifest a healthy beginning for myself without falling back into the same habits and meeting the same low energy people? I just dumped my boyfriend of 2.5 years for allowing his brother to bully and verbally assault me. But you didn't allow it because he left. See? Oh, he allowed it. Okay. Okay, clock it. Got it. Got it. I had it, but worried this energy will keep following me. Well, that's the thing, right? I love that. I love the understanding, right, of how do I manifest a healthy new beginning for myself without falling back into the same habits. I think that's really it, right? It's knowing that it's you, right? It's that it's your choice. And you know now the results of making the choice of being around people who aren't going to stand up for you, so you won't make that choice again. In regards to being around people who maybe aren't who they say they are in the beginning, that's a lesson we all got to learn. And that doesn't mean that you are attracting negative energy. That might just mean that's a lesson you have to experience. But I think what will really help you is to be able to look at it from a perspective of you needed to see what some people were capable of. So that way you can spot it next time. Clock it. Clock it. Clock it. Woo, okay. Let's get another call. Let's get another call. Who needs a therapist when I have an auntie? Honestly, most people. Most people still need a therapist. Honestly, I wish more people would have one. You know, I wish more people would have a therapist and stop fucking thinking that I'm one, because I'm not licensed. I do give really good advice, but I'm not licensed. Okay. This is a spiritual hotline. This is a spiritual hotline. Okay.
Hi, Auntie Claire. My question is about a coven or a group of people who believe the same thing. How do you go about finding those, especially as someone that is new to the spiritual world, to these beliefs, to being a witch, to manifesting? How do we find people that can help us to upgrade and to help us build community? What do you do? And how do you find them not online? How do you find them in your community? What do you say? So what's your advice, Auntie? Please tell us. How do we find a coven near us? Thank you. Love you. Bye.
First of all, you sound so cute. You should be like a telemarketer or something. Or like, I don't know, doing like the voiceovers for something. You've got such a cute voice. Such a sweet voice. Oh, so adorable. So adorable. You sound too sweet. So sweet, so innocent. How could people say no to you? Honestly, they might think that you're a trickster spirit because you sound so sweet. You don't sound like a witch at all. What are you, a good witch or a bad witch? I'm just kidding. Anyway, I love this question. I think it's really great. I think especially the part where how do you find these people offline? How do you find these people offline? The first answer, I would say, go to your local metaphysical shop. Go to your local witchy shop. Go to your local crystal shop and see if there are any community gatherings. See if there are any events or anything. Look on maybe like Eventbrite or something and see if there's a full moon circle or a new moon circle or something like that. That's usually where the witches are, right? Usually around the moon, they get together. Right? And they're usually quite welcoming if you're looking for people to learn from, especially if you're open to learning. But I would definitely say your local metaphysical shop, your local witchy shop, your local botanica to get some healthy information. Now, when it comes to meeting people online, I think there's also a lot of value in that. Obviously, we're virtual right now. Hello, my shooting star. We're virtual right now, and I think there's a lot of benefits to being virtual and to having virtual community. Peachka has a virtual community if you would like to join it and join on Discord. It's free. You can come hang out with everybody. But I think there's we're in a weird place, right? We're in a little bit of a weird place where people are using community as a word to replace clients and to replace customers. And there's a weird trickery that's happening with that, of people saying we're building community and really they're just trying to sell you something. And that's fucked up. It's fucked up. And it's kind of weird. And obviously everybody's got to make a buck. I think energy should be compensated. However, if we don't care at all about the community and we're just trying to make some money off of them, is it really community? Is it really community? I don't think so. So I think it's very important to be mindful and careful of where we're putting our energy, whether online or in person, either one. I think there are scammers everywhere. And I think when it comes to wanting to learn, right, I think it's an incredible idea to want to look for a mentor or someone to teach you or someone to guide you. I think that's really beautiful, especially as a baby witch, and not thinking that you know every fucking thing. Like a lot of these girls, they go to TikTok University or YouTube University and think that they know every fucking thing about every fucking thing when they don't. And then they start trying to teach a class. So just be mindful. Just be mindful. But I would say, go into your local witchy store, your local metaphysical shop, and ask him where the witch is at. All right, we're going to take another little break, and then we'll be right back. Send me some funny voicemails. I'm excited. I love yous. Hello, my shooting stars. Let's party. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. If you got a question, just give me a call and leave a voicemail. Or send me a text. Cause it's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. It's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Hello, my shooting stars. Let's party. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. If you got a question, just give me a call and leave a voicemail. Or send me a text. Cause it's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. It's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Hello, my shooting stars. Let's party. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556 If you got a question, just give me a call and leave a voicemail. Or send me a text, cause it's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. It's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Hello, my shooting stars. Let's party. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. 929-556-0197. If you got a question, just give me a call and leave a voicemail. Or send me a text, cause it's a spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. It's a spiritual hotline. Hello, my shooting stars. We're back. We're back. We got a lot of texts today. Not that many voicemails, which is okay. I don't mind reading them. I don't mind reading them out. The next question that we have is very interesting, and I'm excited to pull some cards on it. Someone asked, I have been told I have a dark spirit put on me from birth. Is that true? And if so, how do I get rid of it? First of all, before we even pull any cards on it, I want to say, it's been a minute. I sometimes get the question of, do I have a curse on me, or a hex, or is there a generational curse that I'm working through, yada, yada, yada. It's been a while since I've thought about that. But I think what's very interesting, especially about when other people tell you you've got something on you, right? That is sometimes the something that's been put on you. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes even being told you've got something attached to you is the thing now that's attached to you, if you believe it. Because it's now amplifying that person's power over you because you believe what they told you. You get what I'm saying? Bottom of the deck, we got the Tower. So, yeah, let's see. Oh. I'm using a new camera today, and I don't know if I like it. Yep. not only do you not have something dark on you, dark, right? Whatever the fuck that means. Not only do you have something bad, you don't have something bad attached to you. You don't. But not only is that not true, but also you believe in that is what has been, if you're thinking had any blocks or resistance in bringing things into your experience, it's because you've believed that there is some curse on you or something. There's not. All right? Let that go. Let that go. Whatever narrative that is, whoever gave that to you, take their authority away. They have no authority over you. They have no knowledge over your energy. Because you believe in that has been keeping you quiet, keeping you small, making you think that if you go for something, you're not going to get it because you have bad luck or something stupid. It's keeping you from enjoying yourself. It's keeping you from being excited, from being passionate, from caring about shit. Because you think there's no point. And if that's not a fucking curse, then I don't know what is. It's even prevented you from discovering parts of yourself. There is so much momentum that has been built up behind you that it's like you've been tricked into believing it. So it makes it real. You understand? I don't like that shit. Not anymore. It's gone. It's gone. Whatever you thought that was, it's gone. It's gone. Get out of here. Go. Go. Yuck. Yuck. I don't like that. I don't like that. That's enough of that. Self-doubt is a very powerful thing. Very powerful thing. Self-inflicted curse. Self-sabotage, as the young folks are saying. Let's see, what else we got here? Okay, this is a little bit of a long one, but I don't mind. I feel super stuck right now. I own a successful business, but I feel like I've traded my mental wellness for money, and I'm hoping to gift my current business to my mother who wants to run it. I'd rather be a stay-at-home mom, or I'd rather co-run my husband's tattoo studio with him. I love art, but I'm nowhere near being able to work on skin. Okay. I want to make even more money and less hours. I'd make even more money and less hours as a tattoo artist. If I strip the want out of the equation, my happiness lives with this house and all 7 people in it. It's just hard for me to envision a world where my husband covers everything financially so that I can hang back and care for my massive family. He makes enough financially, but doesn't seem interested in that being our reality. Interesting. What type of... Anyway. What can I do from a spiritual perspective to get closer to my goals? The goal being a clean and peaceful / happy / undramatic breakup with my current business for something more in line with my heart. I have clients who love me and I love them back. I just can't do this anymore. It's eating my soul. Wow, that's very dramatic, but I understand. There's some red flags within this message. I can't lie to you. But that's not really what we're asking here, and I understand that. The first thing that I want to talk about is it's hard for me to envision, in quotes, it's hard for me to envision a world where my husband covers everything financially so that I can hang back and care for my massive family. It sounds like that's part of what you want to do. And regardless of what it is that you're asking for, whether it is being a tattoo artist, which you're not yet, or being a stay-at-home mom, which you're not yet, either one, or both, requires you to suspend the part of you that doesn't believe that it's possible. Of course it's hard for you to envision it. Because you've never experienced it before. That's the whole point of visualization. Is for you to practice it. Now, I'm going to pull some cards. But it feels like there's also a little bit of a detachment from what you have moved through your routine, what's regular, and maybe moving into something that's irregular and uncomfortable and unknown. And that's scary for anybody. That's scary for anybody. But if it's something you really want, and also, if you got that many kids, that is a full-time job, taking care of them. Would you just look at that? Like I was going to say before, what type of man wouldn't want to support his wife who was taking care of their, 5 children? What do you mean? You put 5 babies in her and you want her to work too? What are you talking about? Men just don't men like they used to anymore. Because what do you mean? I love you, my shooting star. I will say, you're thinking too much and not feeling enough. You're thinking too much and not moving with your gut enough. You're trying to do the logical thing rather than doing the thing that feels good, rather than doing the thing that Spirit's telling you to do. Sometimes Spirit will tell you to do the thing that's the most unreasonable, illogical, stupidest thing on paper, and that works out better than you could have ever imagined. Maybe it won't be a clean breakup with your business. You're fucking exhausted. It's already not clean. It's already not cute. You said it. What are the words? What did you say? It's eating my soul. Hello? That's already not a clean breakup. If you were talking to me about a person and said that the relationship is eating your soul, but you want to have a clean breakup with them, I'd tell you, baby, it's already not clean. It's already kind of messy. It's already kind of ugly. And this is telling me everything I need to know. Your intuition is stifled because you haven't been listening to it. It's just like any other muscle. You have to stretch it. You have to work it for it to be active, for it to do its job. And I will say, it's eating my soul, I understand is a hyperbole, because it's really not that bad. It's not comfortable. And any decision that you make won't be that bad. And honestly, you could tell your husband, you could go tell your husband, no, you could tell your husband that you want to stay home with the kids for a little bit while you figure things out. And what's he going to say? No? What's he going to say? No? I think a lot of it is all of this stuff that you've made up in your head of what you think will work or not. Rather than you being like, this is exactly what I want to do, babe. And of course, if you say that, what is he going to tell you? No? You need time to get inspired again. Get excited again about whatever it is that you do. It doesn't mean you don't have to put your business away forever. You can come back. You might just need to take a little break and explore something else. Peachka did something recently very similar to that. She stopped doing one-on-one readings to focus on other stuff. That doesn't mean she won't come back to it one day. Who knows? Who knows? Hello, my shooting star. Okay. Let's get one more question, and then we're going to get into a final reading for the collective. And I couldn't pass up this question because it's very spicy. Wait, I think somebody sent me another voicemail. Let me see. Yeah, let's do this spicy question. All right. Hello, my shooting star. Every new moon, we have Auntie Claire's spiritual hotline. Hello. Welcome to the party. Okay, this question was sent right at the last minute, right in the nick of time. And it says, so apparently my ex has been out here exploring the magical world of bottoming. In parentheses, he's a top. Which is great for him, truly. But why am I the one getting emotionally raw-dogged with these updates? Do I keep listening? We still have morning coffee and it's getting awkward. First of all, Auntie is an ally. Thank you. Happy Pride Month to all that celebrate. Pride all year, bitch. It ain't just June. Hello, my shooting star. In regards to this question, you're getting emotionally raw-dogged. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh, right. Bring it back. You're getting emotionally raw-dogged. You're getting emotionally raw-dogged because you're choosing to be emotionally raw-dogged. Sorry. Hate to break it to you, baby. You could very easily say, I actually don't want to talk about this. This actually isn't a fun conversation for me. I actually don't enjoy hearing about you bottoming over our morning coffee. Sorry. Sorry, I would like to enjoy my cafecito in peace. Thank you very much. What? And I think that would be an okay thing for you to say. However, If there's a part of you, a weird part of you, and what card did we pull a bunch of times? That devil card. If there's a part of you that enjoys hearing about it, then that's maybe a part of you got to reckon with as well. I'm just saying, put a condom on and keep it moving. For the people over on Twitch, the comments on YouTube are really hitting it off over here for me. They're really setting it off for me. Oh my God, you guys are cracking me up. All right, let's get into our final message of the evening. We're gonna pull our final couple of cards. Because the auntie is a cocktail deep, and I'm feeling it, and emotional raw dogging has really tickled my funny bone. I love a good emotional raw dog, personally. Personally, I love it. That's my favorite. All right. Let's get into our final message of the evening. So that way Auntie can rest her fucking voice. All right. You're amazing, my shooting star. You're amazing. All right, let's get one final message for everybody in here, for everybody in the chat, for everybody who's watching this at whatever time you're watching it, whether you're live or on the replay or wherever you are. What do we need to hear? Ooh. There's a whole lot of talk about a new beginning, a new chapter, a new era, all of that. And I agree. There is a new chapter beginning, there's a new era starting, there is a new beginning being ushered forth. However, with a new beginning comes an ending. And the ending isn't always tied up nice and neat. I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and I said, this is the book in the series that you kind of fucking hated, but you needed it to get to the next plot point. It made everything make sense, but the book was so shitty. And you tell everyone, just get through it, it's gonna make sense. That's kind of where we're at. That's kind of where we're at right now. And we're kind of like dragging our feet to finish the end of this book because we don't like it. But we got to get to the end of the book so that way we can start the next book, so that way we can continue the series. You understand? But like, people are starting to give up on the series altogether because the book's so bad. Because the book's so fucking bad. because whoever wrote this book, whatever they were going through, it's in the book and it's bad. We were talking about grief earlier. There is an inevitable collective healing, or at least addressing of pain that we're all going to have to do, that we're all inevitably doing, to bring forth the inspiration for change. I think a lot of why people are panicking is because they don't understand, or they can't wrap their head around what else could possibly exist if it's not this. And it's once we get through the collective grieving, that's when all of the inspiration, like I said, the ideas are going to manifest, are going to come forward. When we start turning our direction of authority elsewhere. A focus of authority, and we put it elsewhere. And we don't try to rush anything. We don't try to get it over with. We have to do it right. Can I get one more? Thank you. Yeah. Because if not... Thank you. Yeah. It's available. But we're not looking at it. These go together. Because we're not getting through it, we're not getting to the part that we actually want to see. There is an emotional purging that is inevitably going to happen. Some people are ready to waiting with bated breath. And some people are still learning the value in having an emotional renaissance. I've been saying it for a very long time. The artists matter more than ever. The artists matter more than anything else. The artists matter more than ever. Y'all got to learn how to get a little artsy, get a little romantic. Start learning how to be poetic in the face of catastrophe. This is just a general reading that's for the collective. This is for everybody, my love. I don't do personal readings. And that is actually where we're going to wrap for this new moon. It was so fun. I had such a good time. I love yous, my shooting stars. This is so fun. Yous are so great. Send me some more voicemails. Send me some texts. And we're going to get into this again next new moon. I love yous. Stay safe. Stay yourselves. Be authentic. Be honest. Be loud. And have fun. I love yous. Happy new moon. Happy new moon.